Imagine a vast island covered in ice, so large that it could fit Mexico inside it, yet home to only about 56,000 people. This is Greenland. Its story is not just about ice and cold. It is a story of survival, mystery, and a people's long journey to find their own voice. Today, we travel back in time to discover the history of this incredible land. The first chapter of Greenland's story begins over 4,000 years ago. Around 2500 BCE, brave people from what is now Alaska and Canada crossed dangerous waters and ice to reach this new land. They were nomads, moving with the seasons, following the animals they needed to survive. Imagine living in a place where winter brings complete darkness and temperatures that can freeze your breath. These first Greenlanders knew how to build warm houses from stone, bones, and turf. They wore clothes made from animal skins, carefully sewn to keep out the wind. They were masters of the kayak, hunting seals and whales in the freezing ocean. Life was not easy. It was a constant battle against nature. But they survived and they thrived, leaving behind tools and art that we still find today. For thousands of years, these cultures came and went. The independence culture, the Sakat culture, the Dorset culture. They adapted, changed, and sometimes disappeared when the climate shifted. Greenland was a world of its own, unknown to the rest of Europe. Then, around 1,000 years ago, a famous Viking arrived. His name was Eric the Red. But Eric had a problem. To make it sound attractive to other settlers, he gave it a hopeful name, Greenland. He said that if it had a good name, people would want to come. And come they did. The Vikings established two main settlements on the southern coast, where the climate was milder. They built farms, raised sheep and cattle, and hunted walrus for their valuable ivory tusks. They traded with Europe, sending furs, skins, and ivory in exchange for iron, wood, and grain. For several centuries, the Viking settlements grew. They built a cathedral, held markets, and even paid taxes to the King of Norway. They thought they had tamed this wild land. But nature had other plans. Around the year 1300, something terrible happened. The climate began to change. A period known as the Little Ice Age brought colder temperatures, stronger storms, and frozen seas. The Vikings could not sail to Europe for trade. Their farms could not grow enough food. The grass died and their animals starved. They were trapped. Meanwhile, a new people had arrived from the north. The Thule culture, the ancestors of today's Inuit, spread across Greenland. They had better technology for the cold. They knew how to hunt whales from large boats. They could follow the animals wherever they went. The Vikings, who relied on farming and cattle, could not adapt. By the year 1500, every single Viking in Greenland had vanished. Their houses stood empty. Their farms returned to wilderness. To this day, we do not know exactly what happened. Did they starve? Did they try to leave and drown? Were they attacked? The mystery of the lost Vikings remains one of history's great puzzles. For the next few hundred years, only the Inuit lived in Greenland. They thrived in their own way, moving with the seasons, hunting and fishing, and passing down their knowledge through stories and songs. They had no contact with Europe. He sailed west and found this massive island. To make it sound attractive to other settlers, he gave it a hopeful name, Greenland. He said that if it had a good name, people would want to come. By the year 1500, every single Viking in Greenland had vanished. Their houses stood empty. Their farms returned to wilderness. To this day, we do not know exactly what happened. Did they starve? Did they try to leave and drown? Were they attacked? The mystery of the lost Vikings remains one of history's great puzzles. For the next few hundred years, only the Inuit lived in Greenland. They thrived in their own way, moving with the seasons, hunting and fishing, and passing down their knowledge through stories and songs. They had no contact with Europe. For 200 years, Greenland remained a quiet, isolated colony. Ships came once a year with supplies. Life continued much as it had for centuries. But the 1800s brought slow changes. Better ships arrived. Factories were built to process fish and whale oil. Telegraph lines connected settlements. Greenland was slowly waking up. Then came the Second World War. Suddenly, Greenland's location became incredibly important. It sat right in the middle of the Atlantic, between North America and Europe. When Germany invaded Denmark in 1940, Denmark could no longer control its colony. The United States stepped in to protect Greenland from German attack. American soldiers built air bases and weather stations. They brought money, new technology, and new ideas. For the first time, Greenlanders saw that the world was much bigger than they had imagined. After the war, Denmark wanted to hold on to Greenland. But the old colonial system had to change. In 1953, Greenland officially became a county of Denmark, not just a colony. Greenlanders became Danish citizens with equal rights. But this also meant rapid modernization. Denmark invested heavily in infrastructure. They built schools, hospitals, and fishing factories. They encouraged Greenlanders to move from small settlements into larger towns. The traditional hunting lifestyle was pushed aside in favor of a modern, industrial economy. But modernization also brought problems. Many Greenlanders felt they were losing their identity. Danish became the main language in schools. Danish administrators made decisions far away in Copenhagen. Greenlanders began to want more control over their own lives. In 1979, after years of negotiation, Greenland achieved home rule. This meant that Greenland had its own parliament and could make its own decisions about most local matters. But Denmark still controlled foreign policy and defense. It was a step, but not full independence.